look, from what we've seen so far, definitely a candidate for that. However, as we go to the attack, and this is very interesting.
Okay.
Legion's going to be running a Junkrat, but okay. I was going to say, are you really going to be putting Corey on it, Blase on the Sombra if you're going to be running it? This makes a little bit more sense, although even on the attack, with how much of favoring Rat, I thought we'd be seeing Rat again.
Yeah, but here for the defense, I mean, it's that Junkrat Widowmaker that we've seen come to fruition in a lot of different compositions. Gladiators going back to a bit more standard composition here on the offense, as Blase will be picking up that Sombra. Looks like the Legion are favoring the left-hand push for Corey to be able to make it in. He did not get halted, he did not get slowed down. We'll see if Blase is able to follow up behind him. Only one person so far on the point. Someone has to answer from OpTic, and it's gonna be Bull.
Corey pressuring from that offhand side, and someone has to pay attention to this, right? Where he's back on the point, it hasn't gone away. You don't want to give up a tick for free, so who's going to be the person responsible? Bull ends up getting hacked. Blase was there, and they do get a tick for free. Okay, Wolf and Pank are going to die on the other end, but the Legion have done their job here. Even if they have to reset, they don't want to quit. They almost get a second. Goodness, get someone on the point.
I mean, that's the synergy that we're seeing with the Tracer and the Sombras, right? If anyone tries to come and contest, be it another Tracer
no.
or a
They got a second
Diva.
tick!
Wow, okay.
Please, you put people on the objective!
Call Corey soon, because that's basically what he's doing right now. Just going in for the back caps, might actually take out Sharp. He's dropped down low, and now Blase takes out Gray. 2 kills going over. The Legion have just picked apart and ripped apart the OpTic defense.
We put people on the objective. Everyone died. Are you happy now, ZP? Yes. Yes, I am. That was still, you had to do that.
Now take a look at the swaps coming out from OpTic Academy. Colors going over to the Sombra himself, and Smurf has now since swapped off onto the Winston. So very nearly mirrored composition, except Pooks is on the end, and the Nano Boost has come out. It's probably on Panker.
Well, this is an opportunity, and it's an even bigger one. They got Gray in the back. The Legion now working with uncontained momentum. Plus EMP charge, Smurf out of it, isolated, unable to get away. The Legion now working with a huge edge, and they're gonna turn out the lights. Looking for an extra pickup. They get the hack onto Aid. Now, Aid, they can just shoot him out of the air. He can't Guardian Angel away in the mud. Oh my goodness, he's still alive. He's able to get away. And, oh no, he ends up falling after all. He's out of the fight. The Legion's still very much in it, and now it's Gray buying time to Transcendence, immediately taken down. OpTic struggling to breathe.
Now is the best way for them to come back into this retake. Now Sharp is still so far away from his next pulse bomb. Has to be careful, drop down low, is able to farm it up now, is at 91%. Still one tick has not gone over. There it is, the first one coming in for the Legion. Gray has swapped off onto Doomfist, but he gets taken out by Gods, and now they're still just hemorrhaging eliminations on the side of OpTic Academy. EMP was used by Keller, but there's no follow-up for it.
A wild Doomfist appears, and then the wild Doomfist faints just as soon. Gray now onto Widowmaker, perhaps going for that legendary Pokemon towards the end. Sharp, though, working on cleanup. The Legion starting to lose some players here. And, is he DC'd? That was a very not moving Ana. I understand she's a little bit older and needed to take her breath, but the Legion keeping pressure on. Look at Panker just making space in the moment. Let's Blase come back in. Here comes Rolf.
They did it.
Transcending back on in, and the pressure is still up there. And yeah, Pooks is gone.
Still of Ana there. We already, though, in the very first half of this map, we've already seen some pretty incredible plays. Let's talk about the play at the top out of Sombra.
It was very good pressure, right, between your Tracer and your Sombra, where they literally got 2 ticks without the main OpTic force being wounded in the least. And what ends up happening is OpTic's find like, geez, we can't let this happen again because then we lose the point. They pull everyone back, and then they just get swarmed on all ends, and it's ugly. But it was beautiful from the Legion, a great engage, and it obviously set them up for the momentum that we're seeing here where, you know, I don't know how long Pooks was DC'd for, but that actually could be the difference between OpTic holding and just getting capped on in lightning time.
And that was a great micro interaction there too, because Vol comes in, and usually with a Diva, you're able to stall out by using your boosters, coming back on in, proccing the point and make sure that it doesn't make any progress at all. But because he got hacked, he didn't have his defense matrix, he had to stay further back and wasn't able to boost her in to stop right before that that tick got taken. And so with that, it just snowballed into the favor of the team. And it was just really good play coming out of the Sombra and the Tracer.
Do you think that there, I guess, what would your theory be on why we saw kind of Doomfist peek out and then just say, no, just kidding, and then go back to Widowmaker?
Oh, panic. It's sort of, what can you do to A, get back on the point quickly, and B, maybe get a one-shot? That's why teams in panic mode, when they're trying to do anything to reverse momentum on a point they're about to lose, will go to the Doomfist. Now, tanks were able to get back out there. The Doomfist didn't do much. Gray was like, okay, maybe I could get something on the Widow, since he's a support that doesn't mind flexing onto DPS as much. Either way, though, there's one word for all of that, and that is desperation in the moment.
So it looks very strongly like Gladiators Legion has OpTic Academy on their heels. We've got some playback now. This is of Corey. This shows Corey having a good kind of command of not just the point itself, but of positioning.
Yeah, and I would say the highlight there was not the impressive part. I mean, yeah, it's final cleanup. The impressive part was the lead up to that and how he was able to stay alive with Blase. They worked together really well as a team, and they essentially got 2 ticks on the point prior to that happening. That, at the end, that was just the finish.
Yeah, basically, I mean, that was the game plan that Mayhem Academy tried to run on their offense here on Horizon, but they never had that sync up between the Sombra and the Tracer, which is, well, what Gladiators were able to pull out here. Corey and Blase were just absolutely impeccable on it. And that's why it becomes so difficult. That's why we're seeing a lot of teams run that, because you can't just send one person back there to try and deal with it. Even if you have a Roadhog, right? You can't send the Roadhog back there because, well, he gets hacked. He's not going to be able to take a breather. He's just going to go down. He's going to feed over ultimates. Sometimes we'll see teams like try to send their Junkrat and their Mercy back. And I think that's probably one of the better ways to try and handle it, because the Junkrat can still dish out the spam and possibly with an errant damage boosted grenade get a kill onto either Sombra or the Tracer.
Now, one thing I do worry about here, because this has been a longer break, and I don't want to curse anything per se, but I don't think Legion has a backup here. So if something catastrophic happened to Pooks, that would be quite bad for the Legion in the moment here, where, of course, we're just buying time going, okay, let's wait for him to come back in. But, you know, if there was a huge internet outage, this could obviously turn the series a very different way.
Well, luckily we did get word Pooks is back in game, so hooray.
Yes.
We're just checking and double checking some connections to make sure that everything is running smoothly, and then we will hop right back into game. So that's kind of what we're hanging out and waiting for the green light from.
Personally, I'm happy to use Caster Curse powers to bring internet back to life. I'm taking full credit.
Yeah, I mean, that's a new meta at this point, so good job, ZP.
I really, really wish that I did not win the lottery. Yes.
I'm just going to take a second since we have to wait for game anyway. People are making fun of my hat, and I would like to point out why I'm wearing my hat. I am, additionally to being on-air talent here at Blizzard, I work in video games. I'm a motion capture actor, and I had to shave my head entirely for a role. And while it looks fine, it's freaking cold in here. So I'm wearing a hat, and you can continue to laugh at it because I know I look very French right now.
Is that why? I thought we were just like trying to channel your inner Robert A. Wing.
Yeah, actually I did. We heard that you guys really liked Robert being on desk, and I thought, well, maybe if I just shave my head completely bald, it'll be even better. Anyway, we're going back to game. Let's see if we can get right back into the action. Hopefully Pooks is up and running and there's no more snags.
Well, he's not giving me an Ana anymore. Decides to swap to Lucio because that ult charge is gone either way as, oh, Panker getting frozen out and taken out. And I gotta say, OpTic got a bit of a gift here. I think that very easily could have been a full take for the Legion, but obviously when you have a mid-support DC, it's pretty tough.
So they will force them back, but the Legion still have plenty of time to work with, securing 1 tick along with 42.8% now with 4 minutes. Pooks is swapping back on over. He's going over to the Ana. He had swapped over to the Lucio to try to get back into the fight faster, but now this is going to be important. Where they're going to try and allow Panker to succeed here. He needs the extra space to be able to go in with that Winston, try to apply pressure onto Gray. He's already got the orb on him now.
Legion biding their time in the moments. Killer staying on top going, I'm just gonna drop an EP. Drops the EP, gets ruled. Immediately going for the supports. Pook's gonna fall as well, and look, what more do you need? EMP resulted to support kills. That's the end of your fight.
And that was perfect too, because he also caught Gods in that. And so Gods is also that other fail-safe, right? Usually when there's an EMP on the deck, when there's a Sombra on the field, the Zenyatta can rely upon either a Mercy Pocket or the D.Va Defense Matrix to keep him alive, but Keller landed it squarely on the absolute right targets now. But it's going to be Blaze's opportunity now with the EMP.
And, oh, well, guess what? Rolf killed Gray first. It's like, why do I even have an EMP if you're just going to kill the Zenyatta for me? Rolf giving a huge gift and ultimate economy here, but Sharp on the other end. Got Corey in the Tracer v Tracer battle. EMP has already been used, and OpTic is actually withstanding quite well here. Early pick off our nose, Smurf and Bull bulldozing their way through the Legion's front line.
Trance, EMP, and Bomb used by the Legion here. That's going to allow OpTic a window to really stabilize in terms of their ultimate economy, as Aid will have that coalescence to try and extend out this next team fight. Buy time for Gray, buy time for Keller and Sharp to come up with theirs.
Sharp's down!
Ooh.
Sharp got picked off, and now you might not have the ult you had before, but one of your threats is down.
Great.
You can move in without worrying about Tracer flanking you for the next 10 seconds ago. A little bit less than that, but now they move in. Panker, though, blown up. He couldn't primal in time, and that is huge. I believe he got hacked. And as a result, it's going to be the Legion resetting once more.
Now they're down to 2 minutes, so the OpTic, off the stabilization of that one fight, are really putting their foot down now. Keller on the high ground position once again with an EMP. With Aid having used that coalescence, he will swap off onto the Ana. But we'll see if Pooks can get a good biotic nade, and it's a great EMP out from Keller, but no, he goes down. 3 kills already going over in favor of OpTic, though.
And note how on the same page Smurf and Paul were there, where EMP comes out, Monkey and Diva go on in, and that's simply that. Sharp gets back into the groove. Clean up on aisle 5.
And since Blase has swapped off onto his Soldier 76, he hasn't been able to make much happen. He got that one pick onto Sharp, but this is odd that they're not trying to go for the high ground control here. They're continuing pushing into this left-hand side. Oh, it might have gotten Rolf. No, Rolf will survive.
They're going to survive in the moment. They're going to take some time to back off, get themselves healed up. Legion, I do think they have to go for the high ground here because they're running 76. You want the 76 to have as much room as possible. OpTic pressuring all the while. Corey on the flank looking for the pulse bomb. Panker finds a solo support and decides problem range. He uses it because he thinks Gray's vulnerable, and he is knocking Gray way out of the fight. Gonna force out the Transcendence, and still disrupting. Gray's still getting body blocked. He's like, please, just let me get back to my team. Blase is going to take down 2. Gray couldn't get the safety, even in a full Transcendence, and the Legion move on through. 92%. OpTic knocked back on their heels.
We did have the nano boost coming out onto Keller here, but he was instantly forced to translocate. Now, he does have a sliver of HP. Corey will finish him off, but Gods has been demeched. He will go down. Sharp now about to come alive, but the nano boost out for Panker will melt through Full's mech, even through all the healing coming up from Aid there. Already kills going over for Gladiators Legion. They want to put an end to this map. They want to secure some extra time here.
And they're very close. The nano boost on the Panker gets him way closer to his primal rage. He's under assault right now. Who's going to get first? Oh, he goes down 98% and falls. Not able to primal rage, and that could be the difference maker. OpTic, 1% away from holding. Pulse bomb gets 2. Sharp cleaning up once more. It's looking like OpTic might be able to hold here.
It looked like Blase ran that right into Rolf, or Rolf into Blase. And still, it's going to be OpTic Academy as soon as they clean up Panker. Along with Corey, they will be able to hold here. The Legion only able to secure 94.9%.
I'm still reeling from what a ridiculous play that was by Panker, where he saw Zenyatta up and alone. And a lot of times you would go, okay, I don't know if I might leap in, but I don't want Primal for it. Figuring that he has Transcendence. Primal rages, forces out the Transcendence, and then keeps batting Gray mid-Transcendence, where, Zenyatta's not known for being slow while he's channeling his healing. And he's like, I don't care. Just keeps batting Gray back right into Blase's waiting arms. That was incredible.
That was pretty beautiful. He sends him all the way over to the opposite spawn, forces the trance there, and he's trying his best to get back, but it was just bullying. I think bullying would be the best way to put it.
I would say that of both Winstons, like very easily, Panker and Smurf, we've both seen them use Primal Rage in a way that other Winstons and Contenders just aren't. They are the top tanks here, and it's just been a wonderful twist to watch here, because sometimes in Overwatch, you have games that are dominated by one aspect of play or the other, and supports for both teams have been playing very well. We've had big moments from Rolf, big moments from Gray. We've seen very good play coming out of the DPS, whether it be Sharp or the tag team of Corey and Blase. And then watching the tanks interact has been a joy. So either way, I've been enjoying this a lot.
We're going to continue to be able to enjoy this because now, I mean, we are down to a de facto best of 3, both teams with 1 map under their belts here. So it's going to be OpTic Academy now on the offense, and they do have that win condition set ahead of them. 95% onto point B. That's what they need to walk away with the lead in this series. They're going to go full all-out dive while the Legion, they're running Corey on the Widowmaker and Blase on the Junkrat.
I think this is quite good for OpTic moving in here. Legion, they haven't always been great at running the Theresa in this point. Certainly better than when they tried to run Reinhardt on it, but OpTic, they're going to wait a little bit in how they set this up.
Now they are taking their time because they do have to worry about the halt, about the Widowmaker, all the different kinds of combinations of lots of damage coming down on you. Like a bullet to the head, Gray goes down.
And that's a key target, right? Where you get the Zenyatta out of the fight early. What are you going to do? Well, you're going to wait 30 seconds for him to float on over once more.
By that time, OpTic, they're going to be down to 3 minutes as Sharp is already in position here on the left-hand side towards the Gladiators Legion spawn. He's going to try and force them back because take a look at how far ahead they were. Sharp is here. He is forcing them back, but Rolf got the D-Mech onto Vold. They answer right on back.
Sharp still moving in right now. Gray got Blase, and the Zenyatta DPS contribution comes through once more. Now Smurf's out of the fight, but you see Sharp rolling around the backside, needs to re-engage. Keller right there, is he gonna get set? Down goes Rule. The DPS of OpTic bringing it up, even as the tanks had a little bit of trouble. Now Panker's super low. Corey gets taken down on the flip side, and Legion down to their last few players here. And the blade from Keller gets Rule, dashing in, looking for more. Not actually looking at Panker in the moment, finally does finish him off. And that's a little bit of cleanup for OpTic, as they should be able to take point A.
Trigger discipline. Do not fire into a deflecting Genji. You're just gonna kill yourself or one of your teammates, and that's what happened again. Keller with a great deflect kill was able to just snowball off that, kept them all cornered there, and even though they had the Valkyrie, again, that's what a Genji wants. He wants you all cornered up there for his blade, and so now OpTic Academy, they've got 6 minutes as they make their way onto point B just to secure 95%, and then from there, they'll be able to take the lead.
Oh, one clip! To Rolf, no pulse bomb required. That's a big thing, but Blase got Gray on the other end. Rolf's gonna be brought back up. OpTic now must engage even harder, and that self-destruct by gods probably put the nail in OpTic's coffin here. They gotta back out. If you're a Sharp, you gotta be a little irritated at that one.
Still, though, they had to commit a lot of ultimates from the Legion. That was the self-destruct along with that, along with the Diva self-destruct and the Riptire. And so there is a moment for OpTic Academy to come in here. They're gonna have the Transcendence along with the Primal Rage. Smurf, if you can just get Rolf away from the spawn door, keep him vulnerable, allow Sharp to clean him up. That's what they're gonna be looking for.
And the switch to McCree, it's interesting. It can work out for cleanup. Ooh, okay, you want to headshot the Junkrat there and do that one more time? That would have been big, but it doesn't quite happen. OpTic being a little bit slower as the McCree composition demands. Keller's gonna probe around the left side, and okay, Smurf's just gonna go up top. It's Vol and Smurf trying to clear the Raptors, and they do get Blase, but it comes at a price. Vol's out of the fight, and Sharp got checked by Rolf on the other side. Rolf gets a salty revenge, and this is good for the Legion.
They're just cornered now, and Corey is on the hunt. He's now transitioning over to Haid, who's about a third HP, will fall down to the melee. They'll be able to clean up. Rolf coming in huge on that defensive hold. A 3K to round that all out. So OpTic Academy, they still haven't made progress onto the point. They need to start actually accruing something. They need to get a tick. Every time they go onto the point, they should at least secure a tick here, but they haven't been able to do that at all.
No, and Legion, they've been defending quite well, and I mean, case in point, OpTic had a great lead in off that Sharp pickoff. I'm less than convinced by the McCree here so far. McCree can be very explosive, but okay, here's what they're doing. They're going through ground floor, and they're not trying to get a huge engage on top. They're being sneaky about it. Tire in from Blase. McCree can shoot this down with these. Blase's already out of it, and the Tire is taken down. He had to load early, saw the McCree. Corey got 8 on the other side, though. So Legion still feeling pretty good about this. Corey gets a roll around. Blase might be gone again as Sharp moves around, but there's just no support left here for OpTic. They can't be healed anymore. They must retreat.
And again, another fight on the point. Another fight where they weren't able to secure anything at all. And now OpTic are down to 3.5 minutes with a huge stagger onto Vol. They are just leaving him alone.
I mean, at some point you do need to kill him. He's gonna get his mech back up. 80, what? This is not how staggers work. You gave him his mech back. What in the world, man? Why?
Well, he's got the self-destruct. They're moving right back into this, so...
okay.
Got him a few extra seconds, but still. Wow, Corey is able to force out the Valkyrie early, so they can just buy time, kite away just a little bit. It's the Primal Rage being used by Panker. He already took down Gray.
And Panker laying the damage to a diva of all things. Volt lucky to get out with his life. And I think OpTic just might be waiting for Gray, but that means Valkyrie goes... not really super well used here, because, okay, they got the res off safely, but they lose Sharp! Sharp was poking from the outside, and Blase was having none of it. Now it is a true full reset with 2 minutes and 40 seconds left.
And coming into this next fight, they really don't have much. Keller, you know, he swapped off onto the Genjis at 48%. He wasn't able to do anything with the McCree. He used his Deadeye and then swapped off. But now here we go. Once he gets the blade, it's so difficult to try and attack in with the blade because, you know, the players, they can just run back into spawn. That's where you're seeing Rolf primarily positioning with that Zenyatta to make sure that if anyone dives onto him, he's got the safety of spawn.
Speaking of safety, Legion with plenty of safe tools available, and they don't have to use it. Why? Because Smurf just got run over. Now, you do need to confirm the kill, but not really in this case. OpTic swapped off the Mercy, so that kill, permanent.
Now 8, he's at 20% towards the sound barrier, but they do have the tools to try and crack this open. Blade with Transcendence, that's a thing that we see a lot of teams go with, but I feel like they should have kept the Mercy there, at least for the one blade. Damage boost Keller in.
Well, they need the early pickoff here from Sharp. He has to force out the Transcendence here. No, Rolf doesn't pull the trigger. That could be fatal for the Legion. They're gonna res up Rolf, but now OpTic has a lot more time as they move in. Rolf's gonna have to pull that Transcendence in a moment if nothing pops his way soon, and he's gonna do it anyways, even as Keller falls. One man advantage here for the Legion, passing into the Iris, and oh goodness, when Sharp wants a Zen dead, not gonna get it that time, as the Legion hold on, and OpTic's gonna be fighting themselves down to their final minute.
6 minutes. That's how much time they had moving on to point B. They haven't even secured the one tick here. So the goal being pushed further and further away from them now. 1 minute left for OpTic Academy. This might be one last fight. They're gonna have to rely upon someone like Gray with the Primal Rage just to come up with something huge. Pooks has since now swapped off onto the Ana.
And I think we saw Blase go to the Genji because there's no Mercy in play. They don't feel like they need the extra 76 power. Now, OpTic's going to be moving on in. Not super aggressively here. In fact, it's more of a counter dive, but Panker still gets his man in Gray. Yes, you focus down Panker, but Gray is dead. There's no one to bring him back up. Smurf, though, making a good case on the other of Sharp. It's starting to go the way of OpTic, down Gray or no, because Smurf activates his rage, makes some room, and the first tick now on the board for OpTic. Legion, though, they got tools. That's Panker. He's mad, he's angry, he's in rage, and there's going to be some room made here. Sound
barrier was used by OpTic, but Vol now almost able to get back into his mech. No, he's at 95%. Panker now with the Primal Rage, and Gods has come back with the Roadhog. He's the one-man apocalypse, but it's Panker who is cleaning up everybody with the help of Blase, and with that, as overtime ticks away, the Legion will hold on and take their second map.
And to a degree, I feel like that sort of avoided a little bit of controversy, because if OpTic had come back and won that with the DC from Pooks, people are like, but what if he didn't DC? It's like, well, Legion still won anyway, so the DC doesn't matter.
Why was OpTic having such a hard time with that second point just now?
It was like a lot of teams not really knowing how to run their hit scan. You know, we saw Soldier 76 on the opposite end, and then we saw OpTic running the McCree there, and while they were trying to get the high ground control, he just never was able to gain it until I think there was one fight. But it was just an over-reliance upon the McCree. They stuck on it for too long, and then by the time they swapped off, they were already running out of time. I think they were down to about 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, of all the words you said there, I'm just going to focus on one. McCree. I don't think McCree worked out for them. They spent a lot of time investing in that McCree, and the problem there is that because they didn't get anything going, they weren't as mobile, they weren't able to take advantage of the few times Sharp was able to break things open. And now, as a result, OpTic, after looking very good to start out Horizon, is looking down the barrel of an elimination map coming up after this.
You know, Sharp did really well, but do you think that he did enough?
I don't blame Sharp.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say, I don't blame Sharp. Sharp has been the person of least blame for OpTic. He's been playing very well. Has he gotten every opportunity he would like? No, but he also has to deal with Corey checking him at all moments. And look, Sharp's been playing great.
And also, like, the Legion, they're able to rely upon, like, Corey, Blase, Gods, and Panker to keep themselves a bit more safe and play around their cooldowns. And so that's why we're seeing a lot of times if, like, Rolf goes down, he's the one that receives the res. We saw at one point where he did get one clipped by Sharp, and then, of course, Pooks is right there to res him back into the fight. So they're relying heavily upon Sharp to try and take out Rolf, but he gets a second life, and he can't recreate that success after that resurrection.
And to be clear, I mean, he did get two very key pickoffs on the Rolf. One where Rolf had a Transcendence, and that could have been a gigantic difference maker, where you think about the power shift there, is that, okay, he does get rezzed right after, but that means there's a moment where there's no Transcendence and your Mercy's in the back not healing anyone, and OpTic still wasn't able to take advantage of the fight.
Yeah.
That's bad.
That was when Keller went for the Blade, but I think it was a Primal Rage that came out from Panker to try and disengage everything, and Keller ended up basically towards his spawn side with that Blade, chasing down Corey, I think, of all targets with that Blade. It was just really weird for OpTic.
How was, given the fact that right now it's 2-1, OpTic did walk away on map 2, do you think that has to do with the fact that they were focusing down Panker, or was Panker still getting kind of free reign with things?
I mean, how much can you neutralize a force of nature? Sure, Panker got picked off early in some fights, but oftentimes OpTic had to commit so much that they didn't come out unscathed themselves, and we still saw Panker with Primal Rage have some ridiculous moments.
Yeah.
I mean, not the least of which, he killed Gray mid-Transcendence, basically. I mean, yes, you had to wait till Transcendence was over, but he couldn't get away with a Transcendence. You don't see that happen very often.
Alrighty, well, let's go ahead and take a look at what we are going to be seeing here for our next map. It is going to be Dorado, and this is going to be kind of a decisive map, I believe, like when it comes to the breakdown between these two teams' playstyles and how Sharp has been kind of being supported or not being supported when it comes to how he's been playing for OpTic.
Wondering if this is going to be like a Widow Tracer map for them, a Junkrat Widowmaker map for them. They've shown all sorts of different shades so far, but right now this is also lending itself over to maybe Keller going back to what they found success in on Hollywood with that Pharah.
So I might suggest a little bit of heresy here, because knowing the players' histories, I think this makes sense, even though within the context of the series and what we've seen, you're just like, why would you do this? Is that you could put Keller on Tracer and then Sharp on the Widowmaker, where I think Sharp has a very good Widow here. And Keller, for those who don't know, is that before Sharp ended up joining this team, Keller was a Tracer specialist and quite good at it. So maybe here as you're facing elimination, there's two schools of thought, right? You either play as you practice and you don't do anything radical, or the other option here is that you go for something, it's spur of the moment, but might actually work.
Alrighty, well, let's go ahead and get into game. We will see whether or not the Gladiators can go ahead and wrap this series up. It's going to be 2-1 Gladiators leading right now.
Well, one thing we shouldn't be surprised at is that it is double hit scan, but it is the more traditional of keep Sharp in Tracer jail, as pros like to call it.
Is it really jail, though? Because he has had just outstanding performances on it so far now. But on the opposite end for the Legion, it's going to be Panker, of course, on the Orisa here with Blase picking up the Junkrat, and Corey now on the Widowmaker. So this is just the look that we've seen a lot of teams also pull out here on Dorado. You can control either of those choke points here on the stairs or by main where the payload does travel.
Here's my point of view here. This is going to be very tough for Sharp, where Sharp has to deal with Corey, who's going to be focusing on him more than the average Widow. And this is also just really good terrain for a Junkrat. We'll see what Sharp does as he goes through the Junkrat obstacle course while also dodging a Widow.
Keller was spotted out and then had to back away, but the Legion giving up a lot of ground now as his payload is moving forward here. Keller, though, he's going to have a difficult time. We see a lot of offensive Widowmakers just trying to find angles here. As the Legion just back away, they're going to play safely behind the line of sight. They're going to use these cards along with the Orisa barrier to make sure they're not getting tagged.
OpTic, for now, getting good progress on the payload, but the real test is going to be the courtyard, where Legion is playing very, very far back right now. Sharp under pressure, going to be able to shake that, going around the other side. At some point, this is going to be a quick dive on in. Legion have conceded a lot of ground, and now Smurf goes in. Mostly focused on cleaving tanks right now, not getting too much done in the moment. Legion able to shrug most of that off. Sharp now moving in, but it's a late follow-through. But Keller got Corey. Now you have the 6v5. Your Widow has room to work with, and this is why OpTic is going in that much deeper. They wanted to deny the res. They can't, and in fact, now this could go the other way, but Gods is going to get DMEC. He gave up his life for it in the moment, and here comes Sharp getting a lot more work done.
He's just farming up his ultimate on Pinker right now. They are able to fall back as Corey gets the DMEC onto Vol. We'll see as the Valkyrie comes on now. Gray takes out his counterpart, and now they're stuck in the corner. They're stuck with the pulse bomb. Pinker goes down, and Pokes will be the next to fall.
That was the world's saddest Valkyrie towards the end. It's like, heroes never... Oh, everyone's already dead. It's like, well, it happens. So OpTic able to get on through, and that was a remarkably passive defense for Legion, you gotta say.
Aid, just one parting trap from Blase there on the payload. But he is nonplussed, and he will continue to push forward. He's got the damage boost onto Keller now as they are holding this tight angle. Keller at 92% towards his infra sight. Might get it off of the Zenyatta here. He looks away just at the nick of time.
He's like, please, peek up. Oh, nope, that's not what he wanted to see. He's like, I will see anyone but you. Goes to the other side. Tire up from Blase. This could get sniped down by Keller if he gets the right angle on it. Keller gets Corey. That might be good enough. Tire, 59 HP. Oh no, is it going for Keller? Keller getting out of there, didn't have the angle on it, and the tire does not connect. That's a big swing in favor of OpTic, even as the res comes out.
Yeah, Hooks bringing Corey back into this now as the Transcendence is used by Rolf here on the high ground. It's just kited away by OpTic Academy, allowing it to fizzle now. They're gonna go ahead and counter-engage. They're on top of Hooks, and they take him out.
Very good dive coming in from OpTic, still able to apply pressure. Now, you have Corey looking for anything that would send this the other way. Not quite going to hit the Bud shot there onto the Mercy, and oh, Keller's dominating Corey right now. Let's just be clear. He is putting Corey in his place, winning these Widow duels, and this is a huge Achilles heel for the Legion so far in Dorado.
Something needs to stop the momentum of OpTic. They're allowed to just continue with this pace, and Gladiators Legion haven't been able to keep up with it so far. Now they will come into contest. Pulse bomb comes out, it connects, but Pinker falls before it even detonates now as the second point is taken by OpTic.
And this hasn't been a normal like fight, reset fight. It's been more like stagger, stagger, stagger.
Now this is where the Legion will finally be able to just have a full reset.
No, they won't. Corey gets got by Vol. Corey's just been dying non-stop this game. He's trying to cure OpTic's hunger is what is going on right now. I didn't realize OpTic was hungry, but maybe they didn't either until Corey has just been having the roughest of games in the moment as OpTic now working on an advantage. Gladiators, they couldn't even challenge at that last choke point.
Keller falling all the way back. He's going to try and make a flank play eventually here. Once the dive comes out from the Legion, the Valkyrie's going to be popped early by OpTic. They will force out the Transcendence from Rolf as they charge forward now.
They're charging in. Sharp on the right side. Corey gets Keller. Maybe the buffet is over. OpTic, though, still investing in this fight. The Transcendence is out. They see an opportunity here, and yet the opportunity might not be coming out. Gray had the go save aid on the other side. Vol ends up getting Gods. The pressure's still in. Keller on a late swap now into the Sombra. As Blase and Corey, though, clean house. The blade slices on through, finally cutting OpTic off from this payload.
Most importantly there, you saw, yeah, Gray was trying to cover Aid. It's because Aid was going for a resurrection. You saw the animation getting canceled. You have to stay within a certain distance to get that resurrection off. Now, since then, Keller has swapped off onto the Sombra. He does have the health pack control here on the right-hand side. Wait for him to see if he can get even further in. There's the mini on the lower and, of course, on the higher that he could try and take for his team to allow Sharp a bit more zone control.
OpTic moving on in, and it's just going to be Smurf getting that control on the top early on. They're looking for Pinker, but Pinker's well supported, had the orb. Oh, Rolf got picked. Keller making his presence known pretty early on here. Sharp focusing on tanks as always, and yes, the resurrection might have come in the Rolf, but Rolf's still in a rough spot. Oh, get Sharp! The turnaround being huge! And Smurf just gonna accept his demise. Rolf damaging his way into stability here for the Legion.
3 separate people just come at Rolf, and he says, I don't give a single care in the world, takes them all down, forces them all back. You see why we're seeing Pooks pocketing him, because he's just so good on the Zen.
Look, I don't know as many movies as Hex, but it's more like, I'm not locked in here with you. You're locked in here with me, is what Rolf actually thought in the moment. But Corey goes too far out. The buffet might not be closed yet. It's a 6-on-5 for Keller. Oh, goodbye, Zenyatta. He's going to go for the EMP. Wait, Keller doesn't go for the EMP. He could have gone Zen there. Instead, the engage goes the other way around. Blase diving in. Both supports down. And Keller uses the EMP so late into the fight, and it doesn't make much sense.
They are able to answer back. Panker and Rolf has gone down. Pulse bomb doesn't connect by Corey. OpTic Academy are still here contesting with Sharp. Blase taking out Keller. That's going to be the full reset now out from OpTic. And even though they just moved through points 1 and 2 with almost no resistance, this is where the Gladiators stand their ground. OpTic are now down to 1 minute and 25 seconds.
It's not that much time for Dorado third, but getting the Dorado third at all is an accomplishment. Now we look to Sharp. Sharp going up here. Everyone knows what Sharp is looking for. The pulse bomb on the flip side. He's going to go to ground here first. OpTic diving on in, but not being too crazy. They engage the Transcendence, and they chase after Panker. They're trying to make him pop the Primal, and they do. Panker uses Primal, but he gets right back in there. He doesn't care about a little bit of glancing damage. Gods, meanwhile, in a rough spot, but able to get the reback. This is big. Neither team has fallen here just yet, but OpTic's invested a decent amount to no result.
No result, and it's going to be Blase with the blade now as he gets into the back. He's right on top of the Zen with the slash, with the dash. He's able to clean him up. We'll get a second one here as he's batted away. Smurf with a huge Primal Rage to take him out now, and it's going back and forth between the two teams. Corey dropped low. He doesn't have the recall. He will fall, and OpTic stabilize here, but they don't have the sustain as the Gladiators Legion
emergency Roadhog. God's coming out onto the Hog just in the last moment. Smurf buys a little bit of time, but no, you can't stay on that. That would have ended poorly. And God says, okay, no more emergency Roadhog. I'm diving.
10 seconds left for OpTic here. It's going to be Keller's opportunity with the blade. Trying to find his way on in, but he does have the orb on him. Deflect is gone. His cooldowns, he needs them for this.
He's waiting for it. Keller, are you a hero? That's the question to ask right now. Transcendence in from Rolf. He's gonna wait. Sharp applying pressure from the back. Pulls Rolf back. Here's the blade from Keller. There's the blade from Keller. He's immediately down. Panker deals with him easily. Sharp still trying to deal tank damage. That gets on Panker. Keller brought back up. The blade might be gone, but the ninja is not. OpTic keeping on the pressure here. They're under fire, but not out yet. Corey and Sharp working the outsides right now, but it's OpTic with an edge. OpTic looking to push it in. They get the last few kills. Are they gonna get it? They finish out Dorado in overtime.
It's just a tale of two Tracers there. Even though Keller got shut down that entire time, Rolf was actually focusing. We didn't see the orb actually leave him for, I would say, a good 5 to 10 seconds there. And that's why he wasn't able to succeed at all with that blade.
Look, you want to talk about the difference of good tracking in the moment. Panker, in most of the games we have watched him in, lives in that final situation. It required Sharp just being deadly accurate to get Panker out of the fight there at that last moment. Most times, Panker probably gets away with a little bit of HP, gets healed up, and then kills like 3 more people. Didn't happen there, and that's a difference in accuracy between your very high-end Tracers and those who are just competing at that level.
But it's both Sharp and Corey who are having these like amazing performances on Tracers. And you know, that's why there was like the arms race right here in Contenders. Everyone was looking for their Tracer ace. Almost every team has their Tracer ace. You got Mikey A over on Mayhem. You have Zachary now over on Fusion. Sharp here for OpTic Academy. It's even lended itself over to the OWL where everyone needs that Tracer ace.
One thing I would note here though is that as much as we talk about Tracers, we talked about it earlier in the day, but the Zenyatta play as well.
Oh,
Rolf, of course, not a new player to Overwatch competition, one of the more well-known names in the scene. Used to be on C9, was on Team Canada, had very big moments there that staunched what could have been a very quick time from OpTic.
Yeah, I believe they moved into third with about 4.5 minutes, 5 minutes? I can't quite remember, but it was a lot of time still left in the bank moving on. Now, the Legion with their offense, they're not going to really do anything strange here, but Blase is going to be starting off with the Genji as Corey goes over to that Widowmaker. So there's going to be the Widow versus Widow battle. Strangely enough, though, OpTic Academy, they're going for a very mobile defense.
Oh!
Keller starts it all off. Rolf just peeks through that slight crack there on the wall as Corey finds it himself.
Well,
now they're going to try and cover it.
I was about to say, new idea, don't take Keller off Widow, but Corey gets a little bit of that salty payback towards the end. Rolf gonna get res back up in the moment. But so far, Keller, it's been a new side of him on the Widow. He's been way more impactful to the game, and he's gotten the better of Corey more times than not, but doesn't quite start out that way.
But most teams, they don't like to take the next engage until just about here where the payload pushes. Oh, Corey now with 2 heads-up kills up against Keller, getting focused down, but he will get healed back on up, and he's back into this fight.
Well, he just chunks him again! And while this is giving a lot of ult charge to Gray and Aid, it's stopping OpTic from pressuring the way they want. The payload almost at its final destination. Sharp's gonna fall, but not before leaving a parting gift for Panker. It's enough for him to fall in the moment, and perhaps Legion overdove just a bit.
They will have to back away now, as Vol was able to take out Blase and Gray taking out God's Corey.
Hey!
3 for 0. 3 for 0 here on the attack up against Keller. And at some point, as Keller is just saying, can I swap? Can I just swap?
No, I think Keller's like, I killed this guy 4-0 to start the last map. What is going on? Surely it will go different the 4th time, but look, this is momentum between 2 great players. Here, oh my God, he was nano boosted and just got thrown out. That was a ridiculous amount of burst on the Smurf. Taken down, Corey, shot after shot coming in from the Legion, and this is a new Corey, completely different than last round.
They will clean up Sharp, and they'll be able to secure first. Really dominant fashion. Transitioning here at the second, this is so good for them as Blase does have that blade. Gray is gonna have to be careful with his positioning. He needs to be grouped up with the rest of his team. That's why they're all moving onto the high ground together.
This is absolutely insane. Right now, I would just imagine that Keller and Corey were like trading off food banks where Corey was feeding OpTic the last round. Now it's Keller that's been sending it the other way to the Legion. Now Keller's back up, looking for the run back. Can't get it on the Corey right now. Shield's protecting him. OpTic holding the high ground. If you're Legion right now, you just wait for another pickoff, but okay. Highly aggressive engage coming in from OpTic. Smurf gonna use Primal Rage. Gets the Transcendence up from Wolf. Not a bad exchange.
Yeah, and he instantly jumps back after he gets it, so there's a good disengage out from OpTic Academy. Also, they still have to worry about the blade now with Blase at half health. He needs to get healed up before he can go in for this, but Keller already starts it off. Corey down along with Panker.
That looked like it was Keller that died, but it's the other way around. Shoots Panker in the moment. Corey, though, gonna be brought back up. Blase falls, and Keller finding his mojo once more. The Widow battle, so important here in Dorado.
Yeah, Keller making up for lost time now, and this is where you need to make up for it here on second. Gladiators, they're down to 3.5 minutes. Blase's been sitting on this blade for about the last minute and a half. So, OpTic Academy, they're sitting in a great position. They have Keller once again with another Infra Sight, so that's going to slow down Legion even further.
Well, one thing that you can use to speed things up, it's Dragon Blade, but you have the recon sight. You don't really want to dive in as Genjin's mode. You don't want to be focused down. But Blase, he's itching to get going right now, and Legion, you gotta think they're gonna move in here in just a moment. Recon sight is over. The time to go is now. Primal Rage up here for Panker. They're biding their time. Smurf got Rolf on the other side, but Corey strikes the other end. Keller, the threat is gone. Panker invests the Primal Rage, and oh no, Gray does not want to get on this ride. He vomited the first time, but Panker falls as both teams slugging out the payload, and OpTic might be fighting it back.
Especially with that pulse bomb kill onto Corey. Gray getting the DMEC onto Gods now. Gladiators, they have to fall back once again, and it's down to 2.5 minutes here. Take a look. So for as long as Blase's had that blade, Gray's also had his Transcendence. He's been under no pressure whatsoever, and it's because OpTic Academy have been so proactive here on this defense. Smurf, along with Vol, have been continually diving on Rolf. He's been their target most of the time, and so he's been having a difficult time building up another Transcendence.
Very tense for the Legion. 2 minutes left. Corey on the assault, lucky to get away with his life. Keeps his head, but just barely. Smurf diving in, a nice engage to start here, has the Primal Rage as a safety blanket and doesn't use it immediately. Instead, opts for the Transcendence to heal him up. Blase getting very little because of Gray's prayer circle in the moment. And look at this. Now you see Smurf with the Primal Rage, but he's so low. He was focused down, and yet he got out of the fray. He's going to be alive as Corey takes on the Widow here, looking for anything. Both teams still remarkably healthy, despite all the action going on in the moment. And Smurf is out, and Panker's down. Both Winston's out of the fight, 5-on-5 still.
Valk has been used by OpTic Academy, so they have that AoE, that chain healing out from Aid. They will clean up the Legion. Now the Legion lost all momentum. They're down to 1 minute and 10 seconds here, and this is why we see teams just struggling on second point Dorado.
The other thing we're seeing here is Keller's been a big threat. He has. You know what that means? People aren't looking at Sharp, who hasn't died in forever. He's on a 10-kill streak right now. Corey gonna open up with the recon site. Legion gonna take this fight ASAP as Corey. He's gonna be looking for the pickoff, misses the shot. Is he gonna grapple up? Looking for Keller here once more. Grapples on up, looking, misses! Keller wasn't even looking at, misses again! Finally gets Keller, but there was an opportunity cost to that as the OpTic Academy gets to back up a bit.
Blase has an opening with this blade, though. Gray doesn't have his Transcendence quite yet, but he's still holding on to it. It's going to buy enough time. Never mind. Corey with a headshot, taking Gray out. Blase moves in, now with the blade, with the help of Baker, taking out Sharp, but still there are no more targets there other than the D.Va mech. He will be able to get the D.Va mech, but they've got to look out for Aid. Aid is over there on the point. They will take him out.
He's down now. Gray had Transcendence. That was the biggest part about that pickoff. He was about to have it. Now he's going to have to use the Transcendence to buy time. Still not the worst for OpTic here. I think ideally they'd like Smurf to do this, but it's got to be Gray. Gray, where are you going to zoom into point? No, Smurf gets there in time. So this lets Gray save his Transcendence. Smurf's going to eat a bit of damage here. Hold on and then Primal. Here comes the rest of OpTic. Smurf buying them crucial time, and Rolf transcends first. Gods is D-Mac. The Transcend does not save him. Gray's gonna transcend back the other way. Corey, no open shots right now. Oh, there's a shot! Got him off the hook, and they don't stand the point! OpTic still gets it! What?
Something about Dorado.
Oh.
There's just something about Dorado and our playoff matches.
Dorado is a woman, I'd marry her. Yeah. I said it.
Because she's difficult?
Exciting! Exciting!
Dorado, second point.
I feel like I love that it's so rare to see you guys speechless after watching a match like that.
Well, everyone was there. Someone should have been on the point. Someone should have been on the point. And you hate to see a map end that way.
I have a question about support. We've seen a lot of incredible play out of the two different Zenyatas on each team. What makes Zenyatta such an influential support pick?
Well, it's just because, well, he does offer healing, but he has one of the highest damage potentials as a support. That's why we saw the nerf come in. I don't believe we're playing on that nerf patch yet, but because of his charged fire accuracy and just damage output, he can just solo a tank, he can solo a DPS, anyone on the field.
It also means that if he has good coordination with his team, you can get very good value out of the Discord orb. We've seen moments where if you want to take someone down early, not only does it help when you have a Winston Tracer at the same time, but it's even more so if right before a Discord orb comes out and marks them down. So a Zenyatta is not only a long-range threat at getting early pickoffs, the Zenyatta is also very good at supporting people on the damage end, getting those early pickoffs beyond just the fact that he gives out an orb for healing for long range. Zen is a hero that does a bit of everything, but is certainly one of the most impactful heroes right now in Overwatch.
Let's break down this Corey v. Keller Widowmaker duel that we saw coming out here.
He just went back and forth. It was just good angles for Corey there. He knew that Keller was holding that angle because Rolf had just gone down beforehand. And it's fine for him to actually take the peek because they're right outside of spawn. So even if he dies, that payload is going to continue to move forward. So that's why Corey was able to stay aggressive there. Now this is where like it was just absolute beautiful prediction coming out from Corey as they moved on to the courtyard.
I think the biggest thing is the variation in Widow play, right? Where when you have good Widows, just because both people are really good at Widow doesn't mean you're going to get an equal result at all times. It is subject to the idea that one Widow could go off on a 4-5 kill streak in a row, and then the other can bring it right back. And we literally saw this from one round to the other, and that's just exciting.
Alrighty, guys, we are going to take a quick break. I know, we are tied up in the series. We are down to the final map, so you better stick around and stay tuned if you want to see how it turns out. Old Spice Hand Gym. Flex with the best.
Are you a hand? Is the body that you're connected to an online gamer? Having trouble doing simple everyday tasks? Sick of the old ways with no results? Do you need a hand with your hand gains? Then have I got the thing for you. Old Spice Hand Gym. The Old Spice Hand Gym is a fully equipped mobile hand gym dedicated to one of the most important tools for any competitive gamer. The hand. This gym is completely packed with the latest and greatest modernized machinery for all your workout needs. Our state-of-the-art facility is committed to making your fitness goals happen one finger at a time. Finger lifts, wrist resistance, hand mills, flicking bags, big wheels, this stuff, and so much more. Old Spice Hand Gym also offers flexible memberships at very flexible prices. It's practically free. In fact, it is free. Your gains are our loss. Welcome, team member. Thanks, Old Spice Hand Gym. Old Spice Hand Gym. Get good, get gains. Brought to you by Old Spice Deodorant.
All right, we are back here at Overwatch Contenders North America, where we have seen an incredible turnaround here by OpTic, with both Keller and Sharp just putting in the work all over the map on Dorado. Nobody really even addressing Sharp there until the very end, where OpTic just kind of got to slide in there and keep Gladiator from the point.
You saw the power there, where Keller was having such a good game. You're not worried about Sharp, and that's how you get a dagger in your back. He really just did not die for an inordinate amount of time there, but that's what happens when a Widow is being public enemy #1.
Yeah, and earlier on in the series, I mean, we got to see why Sharp, didn't have the great standout performance that he normally does, because, well, Corey was on the Tracer earlier on, but having to put him on the Widowmaker meant that you didn't have that same tool to keep Sharp checked.
Absolutely, and that kind of action is what brought us to our very first map 5 here in the playoffs. Was this something that you guys were both pretty much anticipating a match 5 or a map 5 anyway with this matchup?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was sort of Fusion University didn't go to 5, so of course this one had to go. And hey, it carries tradition where XL2 and Vision was also insane going to the final map, so why not have it here for the finale on the second playoff day? One of these two teams is going to go to Poland. The question is who?
It's going to come down to this 5th map here on Ilios. Nepal did go, of course, over to Gladiators earlier on tonight. Does that just mean because it was Nepal, it's a little bit different, right? The way it plays out on Shrine, on Sanctum. Ilios is going to be completely different. We're going to see more Pharos, we're going to see more Widowmaker battles, and we might come down to Keller versus Corey again on the Widowmakers.
Yeah, said the key word, Widowmaker, where right now, Widowmaker has been the most effective hero for Keller, and Ilios is unique in that you can flex on the Widow on Ruin stage. It is one of her best areas of the entire game. This is actually a fairly good omen for OpTic.
Alrighty, well, let's not waste any more time. We're going to get right back into it and see between Gladiators and OpTic who is going to Poland.
That's a Lighthouse. Because we're on the Lighthouse stage, and that was one of the best shots of the actual Lighthouse I've seen. Well done, observers. But now, as we go into the game, OpTic is going to put their hopes and dreams on a McCree.
And I'm not actually opposed to this Legion lineup where they've got the Diva along with Pinker on the Roadhog. It's the same thing coming out from OpTic Academy, just the difference is that Gray is running a Zenyatta while Rolf is going to be on the Mercy.
This means you're going to see more explosiveness from OpTic here early on, just because they have access to the Discord more, but way more sustain from Legion. So if Legion can extend this fight out another like 10 seconds or so, they're gonna have a really big edge because of that sustain. But Pinker almost falls. The power of the focus fire that OpTic can put out here, rearing its head. But now, if they can just stay alive, get more poke, they have the Mercy to heal them. OpTic's gonna be in rough shape. Do they get the D-Mech on the Gods? They do! Gods is out of the mech. He's out of the fight. Bull finishing his plate. And this is gonna be OpTic taking the first fight.
5% already accrued for them as Sharp is trying to find anyone on the retreat. It's Smurf that takes out Blase, though, so that will stall them out just a little bit more now. And take a look. They've already been able to build up so much ultimate percentage on the support line for OpTic because they kited so expertly there, not losing Vol ever, able to keep him healed on up.
That's not just healing. For Zen to get that much, Zen has to be doing a ton of damage, both even for the Lucio as well. OpTic supports doing extra damage in the moment. Sharp Pulse Bomb not going to connect. Big catch here for the Legion. Pinker might be able to get out safely, which gives him a chance to re-engage. Deadeye for Keller, for now, just zoning. You have to look to the tire. Blase's tire going around the outskirts. 5 seconds left. Well away from the McCree. Gonna D-Mech Bull. Well done here in the moment. Corey with room to work as McCree on top, looking for his counterpart. Missing shots right now. Not able to get Sharp. He was given a golden gift. Couldn't get it, which means Sharp is still alive. The barrier up on the other end. OpTic holding on. Flank from Corey. Doing a little bit of work.
Yeah, they will be able to re-engage upon this right now. Both supports on the point for OpTic Academy, but instead of trying to pinch them off, the Legion are just slowly moving in on this. Gray has now gone down. Pulse Bomb might equalize this out. Sharp keeping it alive. So we do have the Deadeye coming out. Corey connects. 8 is gone, and now the Legion are starting to press forward. They have one more member they need to get rid of on the points. They will. They'll flip it over. OpTic Academy still able to secure 78%.
That was a slow burn from Corey there, where he redeemed himself by... He did have a golden opportunity to kill Sharp. Doesn't get it, but slowly gets the kills he needs to let that go the other way. But okay, Legion, gotta stand the point. Sharp just got about 30% on his own. Coming back in the other way. this is pressure on the point all the while. Legion, they have to draw someone back here. That someone is going to be both Gods and Panker, who are on the point. OpTic has all the other areas to go to, and no, they just go for Panker. They deny the res, the self-destruct in the back. Gods gets 2 of his own, make it 3 if you count the D-Mech, but OpTic should have enough to retake here.
Corey again with another Deadeye kill onto Vol, but still, it was enough for OpTic Academy to just walk away with the points. It's at 87%, the Legion. Not a very mobile composition here. They need to be able to make it onto the point, so they're gonna go ahead and take the spa route in. As the Riptire comes out, Blase wants to create a distraction for Panker to get it. He's already down to 88 HP. Rolf has to use that Valkyrie to keep him alive. Now he's on the point with him. Transcendence is popped from Gray as it's chasing down him, but Keller will be able to clear it.
Oh dear, when Zenyatta is like, I'm faster than this tire, able to get away. The resurrection comes out, but at a steep cost. Sharp on the cleanup here. It's Blase coming in, and Keller takes him out of the skies. Sharp just needs a little bit more. OpTic in overtime. They're going to take the first round, 1 round away from going to the semifinals in Poland.
Even though they had that extra healing potential coming out from the Mercy, there was just never a really good position for Rolf to be in with that Mercy. He was just constantly just in a horrible spot to try and get a resurrection off because they tried to fight on the point. And then from there, I just feel like it was more of a liability. Put that man back on the Zenyatta. He has been doing work all series long with it. On the opposite end, we're seeing what Gray can do now that he doesn't have to face off against a Discord orb on him. He's able to apply pressure with the rest of his team.
Wow, I fully agree with you in regards to the supports there. I would have liked to see Rolf on the Zen, but this is going to be interesting where they're running a Moira comp, but they don't have much to deal with Blase. This is Blase's sort of garden here. If he can do well in the Pharah, OpTic's going to have to swap.
It's the Lucio, Moira, Sombra composition that a lot of teams do run, but yeah, you are right. Blase has no one to really deal with him. Keller can try and get a hack on him, but still, he's got the mobility, he's got the Kong Blast to make sure that he stays high in the air or away from any Sombra angles.
Legion, for now, trying to dominate the point, using the Pharah as backup over the top. Smurf getting chunked down really heavily here early on, but gets back to Gray. Gonna let Gray heal him up, still under fire. While this is going on, Gods overextends it. Keller takes him down, and OpTic, with a tank advantage, can bring themselves back in the point, Pharah or no.
It's just a disconnect coming out from both Gods and Panker now. Panker gets dropped low, he jumps out. Rolf heals him, but while Rolf is healing Panker, Gods is the one to fall. And so right now it's just a prioritization of the healing, and especially with the health pack control being ripped away from them, as Keller does have that Sombra, he's not able to rely upon it, is Panker or Gods. And so now they are just finding themselves in a horrible spot, but that's a great spot for Blase, right over the top, getting that barrage onto Gray.
It's a 1-for-1, and now you gotta cover the body. Don't let Rolf res. Rolf is going for the res as we speak, and he gets caught. Gives up his life for nothing. Vol was not letting that happen. OpTic gonna barrier right after. Staying in and around on the point. Panker was Primal Rage expecting a little bit more. He's delaying right now, but for what? It's still OpTic's point.
Coalescence was used, but Panker was able to take out Aid finally on that Lucio. Self-destruct now coming out from Vol, and it will connect. Corey has fallen. OpTic might have just stabilized here. They're on the hunt for the tank in the back line, but it's going to be the Primal Rage used by Smurf along with the EMP to clip the wings of Blase. They won't be able to get the follow-up kill onto him as he does make it out, but now take a look. OpTic's at 60%.
This is dire for the Legion. OpTic 2 team fights away from moving their way to Poland and the semifinal. What they need here more than anything else is a good, oh, they don't need that! Sharp just strikes, takes down Rolf. You can't get a good barrier engage off that. If you did, it would be horrible. Oh no, they barrier engage down a player. This could be the self-destruction of the Legion here. They try and take the 5-on-6 where they didn't do any damage early on. They're getting poked down all the while, and OpTic will endure as Corey falls to Sharp on the flank.
Blase has since swapped off on to that Genji, but it's coming down to the last 10 seconds here. 9% more for OpTic Academy as they pick up another kill onto Baker. Coalescence is now used by Gray to keep everyone topped off. It's just a self-destruct, and Gods isn't able to remake. Overtime ticking away. Pooks gets taken out as he tries to jump on the point. It's the biotic grasp of Gray that just grasps victory away from Gladiators Legion. Baker jumps in and he will fall, and that is it. Overtime takes away. OpTic Academy is moving on to Poland.
Oh my goodness. Honestly, the turning point there. Sharp got what was potentially one clip on the roof on the backside. Legion could have backed down and said, okay, we're gonna wait for the barrier. They're like, we barrier 5v6.
Not only that, we saw Sombra really being an excellent neutralizer when it came to Blase's Pharah. He couldn't get anything off, no matter how hard he tried.
The other thing there, too, is that because of the Moira healing, it took a little bit more. You couldn't immediately just dive on in. Where they thought they had an opportunity off some rocket poke, it got healed up, Gods went in and fell, and Blase just wasn't able to get enough done, but part of it was just the Moira working out well in that situation. If they were able to get control once, it might have been different, but in the end, OpTic executes their strategy well, and between these two incredibly close teams, they're the ones that get to the finals.
Yes, and OpTic winning marks actually the very first upset that we've really had in the brackets in this regular season into playoffs.
I wouldn't call this an upset in regards to, I think this is, even though OpTic was the lower seeded team, OpTic was still one of the overall favorites coming in. And both teams, it wasn't going to be a situation where the Legion could just win off their tank play. I just think both teams were super close heading in.
Yeah, I mean, they were like both really like middle of the pack teams coming out from both of their groups, and we expected this to really be a tight match. But ultimately, yeah, we didn't get to see the same kind of Panker and Gods that we got to see throughout the regular season, and it feels like there might have just been a huge disconnect between them. Ultimately, of course, this is the man we were really building up throughout the entirety of this series. He just really ramped it up, especially towards the end there. Gray had some great moments this entire series long.
And you know, you kind of touched on it a bit in game. It's so important to prioritize healing in these situations, and kind of that was the only time that you really saw Gladiators falter, and that is ultimately kind of what cost them this map.
Yeah, particularly there on Well, there were moments where Panker would jump in, he drops low, he was down to a sliver of HP, he makes it out, and then Gods decides he needs to go onto the point to try and contest. But while Panker's getting healed up, he's not receiving any heals himself from Rolf, and then from there they were able to take him out first, and once your Diva falls and you don't have your defense matrix, the Sombra's just able to just lay waste to everyone. It was just so beautiful how OpTic was able to take advantage of that.
Alrighty, let's go ahead and take a look at our Old Spice player of the match. Very much deserving of this. Sharp, not just on Tracer, Sharp all over the place with this.
He is the most consistent player in OpTic, period. I would even put that over Smurf, who has been good as well. But when you are arguably the scariest Tracer in Contenders, yeah, it's a threat. And even going through the obstacle course of Corey, he looked fantastic throughout most of the series. And look, he's only 16. He can grow from here. Easily one of the brightest prospects in all of Contenders, I would say. And that's across all regions.
It's just beautiful. That is a beautiful pulse bomb coming out. So yeah, I think it was Blase who took it and just ran it down the field right into his Moira. You always got to be careful, but yeah. Again, of all the Tracers that we do have, of all the amazing Tracers that we do have, to be able to stand out in that field it's an amazing feat.
Yeah, and really OpTic, it was never really an uphill battle for them. They have been on level playing ground pretty much this whole series, and to finally kind of see it come to fruition, to see them go into live finals, I'm sure they have got to be over the moon right now. So congratulations, guys. You've really earned this.
Well done to OpTic, but also Legion, you're a strong team. I look forward to great things from you going into season 2.
All right, so now that we have all 4 of our teams for live finals, do you guys have any predictions?
Well, I feel like this is the kind of momentum that OpTic can actually ride into it. Gray, he is a very emotional player, and being able to make it to LAN again, he's going to be able to ride upon that and rely upon that. So I want to see him continue that same kind of performance as we go on in a few weeks' time to Poland.
I think from what we've seen on both, like all the teams involved, I think the teams that have made it are very good. I do think the Fusion OpTic semifinal, which I believe will be one of the first semifinals, is probably going to be insane because that's a matchup that we thought would be the kind of 1s and 2s to begin with, and seeing the rematch live should be just ridiculous.
Alrighty, well that does it for us here at Overwatch.